Hey everybody, and welcome back to the second in our installment of the ranch tour series that we're doing here for Open Space Meets. We're going to give you a little tour today of our summer pasture, or what we refer to as our Nevada ranch. This is all kind of part of our project with letting everybody know where your food comes from. Okay, so we went and we found some cattle for you, and these are the girls that we've got here on feed this summer. I always say girls, and maybe you noticed that from before when we were talking. I always say girls when I'm talking about our cattle, and that's because we use predominantly heifers. 99.9% of our cattle are heifers. And let me explain why we do that. The modern beef industry is very much set up to put cattle on feed in a feedlot, feeding corn and grain and things like that. That being the case, there's an infinite and abundant amount of nutrition available for those cattle when they come to the feedlot. Now, this doesn't look like that, does it? No. That's because that's not what we do. Our cattle, we tend to want to focus on smaller cattle with what we call a lower logical endpoint. The amount of gain and the amount of feed required to take a modern feedlot steer from 1,200 pounds to 1,400 pounds, which would be a logical finishing weight for them, is a lot of energy and a lot of expense. And it's very, very difficult to get that much energy and that much nutrition out of just pasture grass fed, out on a pasture situation. With heifers tend to have what we would call a lower logical endpoint, meaning instead of being fat and finished and ready for harvest at 1,400 pounds, they are lower logical endpoint around 1,150 or 1,200 pounds, meaning we can more easily fatten out those cattle in a pasture situation, in a grass situation like what we have here, and still be able to create a quality product. If we were to do nothing but big, really heavy steers, we wouldn't be able to get the cattle fat enough to have good marbling and good quality in the product. The other side of that is if we use all similar kind of cattle, like what you see behind me, that are all similar for size and shape and breed composition, then we tend to have a little bit more uniformity in our product. If we can have more uniformity in our meat product, the steak you had today is going to taste as good as the steak you have next week, which is going to taste good like the steak you have in 3 weeks and be about the right size for you. They say in show business that you shouldn't work with kids or animals. And in our last video, I introduced you to my son, Henry, who obviously is a kid. So this time I'm going to introduce you to the dogs, who are also part of the team here, which fills in the animal portion, which is also part of that whole, I always do what people tell me I should not do. This is Tag, and this is Blue. They're our cattle dogs. They've been with us for a couple years now. They like to work. They love to work more than anything. They love to work more than me. Now, if you'll pardon me and the dogs have got some work to do, and we're gonna have to get after it. Get them up. Get them up.